afternoon, everybody. My name is Barb Boggs, and welcome to the Grant Professionals Association Chapter Leaders webinar, Adopting a Video Platform for Your GPA Chapter Meetings. Again, my name is Barb, and I am the GPA Office and Volunteer Manager and your webinar moderator for today. But we're going to go ahead and get started. Assisting me today on the call is Alan Tiano from the South Florida chapter, and he is going to go over what their chapter does for video, excuse me, my voice keeps going in and out, for video, using a video platform for their chapter meetings. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and let Alan take over. And Alan, again, to unmute your line, you're going to press *7.
Okay, I'm here.
I can hear you, so go ahead.
Well, welcome everybody. I've got a pretty bad cold, so if there's something you can't understand that I said, just ask for some clarification, and I'll try not to sneeze it too much into the phone. So I'm here today to talk about adopting a video platform for your GPA chapter meetings. About a year ago, the Broward County chapter of GPA, which was us, decided to, or working with the Miami chapter, merged to form a GPA South Florida chapter. And that chapter includes 6 different counties. So here the old model we had of getting together for professional development meetings, it just didn't work anymore. People couldn't attend, felt left out. So we decided to look at going over to a video platform capacity. Okay, next slide. Okay, so believe it or not, there's been some research on this. When you think back to the 70s, the I'm okay, you're okay transactional analysis days, you remember those? Here's when things were studied, and words account, as you can see, for 7%, tone of voice 38, and body language 55 of overall messaging, nonverbal messaging. So 80%, 7% feel more connected to their team when using video conferencing, according to a more recent study that was done on January 3rd. So we can say that there's a big gap there, but now they're actually testing video conferencing itself. So why is video conferencing a good choice? Well, if we go back to the research we just looked at, things like we're doing now, screen share or conference calls, use only 45% of the communication potential. As wonderful as these are, really, there's probably there is a much larger impact when you're using video conferencing. It improves communication by, giving you face-to-face. You can see people raise their eyebrows, nod their heads in agreement, or shake their heads in disagreement. You can see people raise their hand. So the real-time delivery of it, makes it a much more effective experience. So what is the potential in this? Really, it's been an amazing experience, to tell you the truth. This can be used to increase the engagement and meeting attendance. One of the issues as a chapter that we've been facing is how do we engage all of our members? How do we get them excited? How do we get them all to participate? You're never going to get them all, but we have seen an increase in member engagement and meeting attendance since we did this, and in that they don't have to travel. They can attend meetings right from their own desk during lunch. The professional development opportunities, the professional development opportunities are amazing. You can get a speaker. Usually we try to get a local person to come and speak to our group, maybe half hour, 45 minutes. on different topics. Now with this going to a video platform, we can bring in speakers from anywhere in the country without having to fly them in. And most people have no problem giving us a half hour or 45 minutes of their time to really bring some salient, important topics to our members. So it's really good. The visual connection, again, as we discussed, the different levels of communication that are involved. Meeting recording, wow. Like I say, easy, create minutes. People vote in the platform, so we can have people raise their hands to vote, and the recordings just really make a lot of the documentation required, especially for board meetings. We store those documents, those recordings. Boy, it's kind of weird talking and not getting any feedback. See, in a video conferencing setting, I would have all kinds of feedback. So people can participate also, not only just at their desk, they can participate on their tablet, even on their iPhone. All right. It also allows us to really approach people from different parts of our region, which stretches all the way from Southwest Florida down to Key West and up to Palm Beach. So it's a pretty big area. So is this good for your chapter? One size does not fit all. It's something that you have to look at. What are the barriers? Okay, can people attend meetings in person? Or I know in some places they have conference calls, and maybe they do once a year, everybody gets together for a meeting. So this is something that you'd have to look at and say, could this really help us, A, deliver better professional development programming content and engage more members and improve attendance? So also you have to look at, do you have the infrastructure to handle the change? Wow, that was a real lesson when we went to set this up. You need somebody you need a technology committee, absolutely. You need somebody or a committee to drive the change, to drive the installation of the software, which is not that big a deal, but getting people trained, getting people to use it. This has always been an issue, one of our biggest obstacles that we've worked on. Okay, one of the things too is this costs money. So do you have the finances to make the change? On the next screen, you can see that there are free products out there, plenty of them. Some are better than others. And I have to tell you, all are blocked on my work computer. My work computer will not let me access any of these free products. Even to get WebEx allowed on my work computer, I had to go to our IT department and get everything uploaded and adjusted so that my computer can access WebEx. So that's also going to be something that members are going to have to look at and are going to have to try to overcome those barriers. But on the free products, I know government entities and probably some higher education, but mainly government, will not allow these free products. So we went to WebEx. Now, we went to WebEx and we also looked at GoToMeeting by Citrix. Overall, they're pretty much the same. They're big competitors, dollar for dollar, feature for feature. They have the same, they're going after the same customer. The reason, we had the live support, HD quality, the voiceover IP is amazing. There are videos that people can access to learn not only how to access the meetings, but how to control what they see on their screen. There's a lot of reasons to look at both these two products. But we chose WebEx mainly because one of our our local members works for Cisco and works with WebEx, and so really you can look at both of them, see what fits you, but it's really they're very similar, and see what works for you. They're also similar in price. So screen configurations. Now here's a configuration that we use a lot for board meetings and committee meetings. It makes it very efficient to also record them, but also for small groups of people to get together and work on documents together, actively work on documents together, and bring them back and forth. You pass, go to the next screen, please. You can see that you can actually, with this little ball underneath the top picture, you can pass that ball to any of the people who are attending the meeting online, and they can take over your screen. It's just very simple and easy, and it's a great way to, during regular meetings, we put up our budgets, we discuss our conferences, we put up events, all types of things that we're all discussing. And certainly when we have a professional development speaker, it's wonderful to have their PowerPoint presentation, but you can also see their face and their facial expressions. So it's really been great. Okay, what are the challenges? Resistance to change. Huge. People, I mean, this chapter is about 12 years old, I guess, and people did not want to change. There was a meeting model of maybe 10 or 12 people would get together once a month and have lunch, bring their lunch, and sit for a presentation. And this changed the game. This opened it up to much higher level professional development and a much different meeting model. Now, people will resist the change also because they feel they miss that face-to-face meeting that you have when you meet in person. And to offset that, we also instituted at the same time 3 live networking events that we hold in different parts of our region. And these are the events where everybody gets together and face-to-face and meets and talks. The professional development meetings and the membership meetings where chapter business is done is often best done by the computer, at least most effectively. So then you have to look at what's the capacity of the members to participate. Very few people have headsets and webcams. So right away we made that a priority, and making sure they knew how to gain access. We even talked with some of their IT people at their work to help them install and enable their computers to participate. So there are a lot of little challenges in there in getting your member capacity up so people can fully engage. Certainly the learning curve on managing meetings. Now that's both on the chapter members end and the chapter leadership end. Boy, we mangled our first 3 meetings. Absolutely did not go well. We had audio problems. We had video issues. It was not easy, and we learned, and there is a learning curve. Certainly any kind of technical assistance you might need in any way, if you do decide to do this, I'm certainly willing to help and be available to maybe help you avoid some of the pitfalls. Members may be resistant to change, and they believe me, they do get over it. Even the most hardcore, I hate computer people, are very much into it right now and enjoy it. Okay, so how much does it cost? This is recent as of a few months ago, and this is the WebEx pricing. You'll find that Citrix is probably exactly the same thing. We have close to 70 members, so we of course get the premium 100, and we do pay on the annual plan. There is quite a savings doing it that way. But you can see, you can scale it to the size of your chapter, and using the premium 8 or the premium 25, really that's not bad. It's not bad. Now, of course, one of the big goals is to convince National to get a full WebEx account, and we can pay per use or find some way to work it through where everybody has access. But we'll just have to tie them down on that one. So to go and do it yourself, this is kind of what we're talking about as far as the annual cost. Okay, what kind of hardware do you need? Wow, we totally recommend a chapter laptop. You don't need top of the line, you don't need gaming capacity, and you can get a laptop now for maybe $350. We encourage this because you have to be able to load the software into one computer, and that one becomes your main computer to initiate meetings and to have the meetings from that point. So you have one set point. The webcams and headsets, the prices you see here are actually, they're now about 20% less. So you see the technology is becoming more and more affordable. To participate, they really just need a headset so they can hear what's going on and they can speak to ask questions. The webcam, generally this one that we recommend as a minimum, has a microphone in it, so they can also participate verbally and visually in the meetings. So what did we learn? Be patient, 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 patient. These things take time. These things, switching to a video platform is culture shock for some people. And you sort of have to manage the stress that they're going to go through. So, one of the things is be specific about what you need. What type of meeting platform do you need? How much can you spend? All right. Make sure that the members are involved in every aspect of the decision-making process. You're talking about expenditures for hardware. You're talking about annual access. These are amounts of money that the board needs to engage the members in the decisions. It also gives you buy-in when you switch your platform that everybody has agreed to the new changes. Make sure you budget at the beginning of the year for your hardware. We set up some how-to video training sessions with our members, and it was very successful. We both did it by going into getting on a conference call and logging in, helping everybody log into the WebEx meeting, and training them that way. I found to be the most effective. Next slide. There we go. So, unanswered questions. Now, these are the questions that we have not yet totally answered. And this is something that I could definitely use some help and some input from everyone. theoretically we know some of this, but how do we really make it? How do we use the tool to drive new members? How do we get the word out that our professional development and our events are truly accessible no matter where in the region you are? Okay? How do we show that we have quality programming? Because we can, given the sudden decrease in the disappearance of the geographic boundaries. How do we effectively improve members' access to the technology? We do drawings, we give them away at meetings, all kinds of things to help them access the technology and to gain the capacity to join the meetings. And here's a big one. How can we use this to attract all grant sector professionals? We really can, through the improved programming, we can attract all different types of professionals. We can do things specifically for grant management. We can do things for people in higher education. We've actually broken into our own we've started a few special interest groups within our chapter because we had a lot of people, for instance, in law enforcement and people who work for cities. So we can target certain programming to these sectors as well. So it really lets you drill down on what you're going to do and the things you can do. But I'm certainly open to any suggestions on what we can do here. So, your questions.
Thank you, Alan. I do have several questions in the chat box for you.
Okay.
The first one is more of a question for me. It says, will this be recorded and available for download later? And that answer is absolutely yes. I am recording it, and we will send it out to everybody either later this afternoon after we're done and have a chance to get it finalized, or it'll go out first thing tomorrow morning.
Yes, but there's nothing like live.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it will also be on the GPA website under the chapter resource section as well for you. So the first question to you, Alan, is what was the total cost for the first year of service?
Our total cost for year one, we did not buy the laptop in year one. We bought it in year two, but that's only because we learned. I would say we spent close to $1,000 on the annual plan, the annual subscription, and then you've got to figure. I know we put about $300 into webcams. We give webcams to any board member who puts all that amount of time and gets one of the webcams. Also, we give them to committee members. So our initial hardware costs were somewhere around $500. So basically it took us about $1,500 US dollars to get going. It was work, but now we kind of have it down. So
awesome. The next question for you is, who manages the chapter laptop?
Chapter laptop is managed by the president, and
so
it's
then
passed.
When there's a new president, it'll just be passed along.
It gets passed along.
Okay.
You need
charge
a single
for participation, and if so, how much?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Do you charge for participation in the WebEx meeting? And if so, how much do you charge?
We did not the first year, certainly not for members. But we're sort of torn. At one point, yes, it'd be nice to have an income stream, which you certainly can do by doing these webinars and doing them live and having that capacity. You can charge $5 to $10 for a non-member to attend the professional development meetings, and certainly you can market it to them based on the topic. So that would generally be the price that we would look at for each attendee. Right now, we're sort of torn between charging non-members or people to just attend one, or doing the first one free and letting them see the platform and drawing them in, and then charge them. We're going to start charging this year moving forward.
And what do you think you're going to start charging for that? You said $5 to $10 on that?
$5 to $10. Certainly, we have a meeting in a couple of weeks, and people are going to vote on that. We are also looking to raise our membership fee, our local chapter membership fee, from $25 to $35. And with that extra $10, new member signups will get a headset to participate, which costs us about $10.
That's a great idea. Okay, your next question for you is, you said you do some live networking meetings throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
Have you attempted to integrate any elements of the WebEx conferencing in those, or are they just live networking sessions?
Well, it's kind of hard to allow cameras in a bar. Generally, we have them in, a local place where we do them after work. We tried doing a breakfast, and nobody wanted to get up that early. So we do them from 4 to 7 in the afternoon, about, like I said, 3 times a year. And they're generally at a bar or some type of venue. We did one at the zoo one year. So they're just not locations that lend themselves to video participation. And besides, we really want people this is the opportunity for people to show up and shake hands and give a hug and talk face to face, and we like to keep it that way.
Okay. And this goes back to the question that they had on pricing. Just to confirm, you're proposing to charge non-members $5 to $10 each time they participate?
That's correct.
Okay. So they were pretty sure, but wanted just to know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The next question is, do you think this model could be adapted for a hybrid, so a part of it being in person and part of it being a virtual meeting format?
Yes. In fact, that's what we do. We set up our cameras and such at one location, and people attend the meeting. So if you're logging into the meeting online, you can see people sitting at the table. So it is tough. We do a hybrid of it. And some people like that. That's great. We generally do one meeting strictly online with no in-person, but the other 4 professional development meetings, which is different than our membership meetings and networking events and our annual conference. Those meetings we do as a hybrid, and then one we do strictly online.
All right. And for those meetings that are kind of the hybrid meeting, what ratio of members attend the live meeting, and then those who attend remotely using WebEx?
Interesting. At first, it was like 1/3 online, 2/3 in person. We have more people attending now, but those people mainly attending are online. So I would say right now we're at about a 50-50 split. And again, as people become more comfortable and as we become better at using the tool, I see that growing even a little bit more. And then people will rely more on the networking events for the face-to-face and our regional conference that we do every July.
Who provides the IT support for the chapter laptop and other hardware?
Basically, we have a technology committee. there's got to be somebody in every chapter who knows how to run a computer. It's not
Hopefully
always
there's
me.
somebody in every chapter.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you had a problem with chapter members not returning their webcams if they become inactive? Was there some sort of agreement that they signed when accepting equipment that is property of the chapter?
Well, one of the things we're doing is by raising that $10 price on our membership, we're giving them the headsets. So they buy that with their membership in a sense. As far as board members and committee chairs, it's a small group of people every year. We're talking maybe 5 or 6. We budget it. It's our gift to them for serving as a committee chair. I think it makes them better committee chairs. They use it. They're more engaged with their committees, and I think the $30 or so is a small price to pay for a good committee chair. So no, we give them as gifts.
Awesome. What happens if you, say, have the premium 25 plan and then one month for some reason you have like 27 people participate? Is there a reasonable fee for the add-ons, or what happens in that case?
Yeah, if you know in advance that you're going to have it, they will allow you to, and I don't know the fee, I don't believe it's that much for one meeting, to expand your limit. But for the most part, it's all automated. So this is the capacity that you're buying, and it's generally for your members. We use WebEx also in our regional conference. There are some speakers we want to get in for the conference, but we cannot afford to fly them in, or they can't take the time away when our conference is. So we have them present. We set them up with an auditorium full of people, and yet that's only one participant. Okay, so there are ways around that to include more people. Basically, you have to at least make sure, even though it does not happen, but you need to make sure that every one of you have enough capacity, or you purchase enough capacity annually, that every single one of your members can log in at the same time and participate.
And is it limited to like one meeting a month, or is it
unlimited?
Unlimited.
Unlimited. That's why you can use it for board meetings and committee meetings. It's an unlimited amount for up to that many people at a time for a year.
Okay, Alan, you mentioned that you increased member engagement. How much was this increased? Did members who were opposed remain active members?
Say that second part again?
Okay, so you mentioned that your membership engagement increased because of it, and so they're asking how much did it increase by?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second part was, did members who were opposed to the WebEx remain active members or not?
Yes. All right, let's take the first part of the question. So far, I'd say we had about 20% increase in participation. Certainly a lot less than I wanted to see, but it's not always about me. I really wanted I expected a larger increase, but 20% is good, especially if we can make it better. And it's one of the challenges. How do we always have to look at how do we better engage people? And this is just a tool. This isn't a magic wand. It's a tool to get there. As far as the members who were resistant to the change, and we sort of dragged along kicking and screaming at the very beginning, they're all great with it now. There are, of course, some people who needed a little more attention, and I personally was on the phone with some people to help them through it and get them used to it. but really we're all using, grant professionals all use computers to some extent. So it's just becoming familiar with a new software. It's like every time Windows comes out with another version, everybody screams and screams until they get used to it. So there are some people who have that type of aversion to change, but they all come around. They do.
It just takes a little bit, but it happens.
Yes.
All right, I have one more question, but before I ask that, if you have any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. Or if you want to ask or talk to Alan, you can unmute your line by pressing *7. Or if you have any answers to their unanswered questions that we just put back up on the screen, please feel free to unmute your line for that as well. So the next question was, many laptops already have a camera built into it. So is there a need for a separate webcam in that situation?
Yes, and here's why. I mean, if you're just going to be talking, attending the meeting, say, from your desk on your laptop, it's sufficient. The cameras and laptops are good for about maybe 3 feet in distance. If you're going to use it to run a meeting and you want to show the people at the table, the laptop cameras are totally insufficient. We actually spent money on a Logitech high-definition camera. It was about $100, and it's got full microphone capabilities, and it clips right on. It's amazing.
It clips right onto the laptop?
Right onto the top of the laptop. You do it out-facing to the room.
Nice. All right. Anybody have any other questions for the chat box? Or, again, to unmute your line, you're going to press *7. And just from the national office point of view, we are looking into new software for our webinar system. And with that, we're hoping to have more of the video capability as well. And are looking to see how it would benefit the chapters. Also, it's kind of been on the back burner with a few other things going on, but with Mike in place now, it's something hopefully we can move forward with within the next year.
And one thing I think we should do, and certainly something we're looking to do, is really see what is the data. How many more people are attending? How many more members from faraway places within our region, but how many members are participating online? Satisfaction surveys. I mean, and there are chapters who already do this. So if they're using this type of platform, I think it's also important, one, for your own benefit to know how people are using it and reacting to it, but also so we can help National make a decision as to whether this would be a worthwhile endeavor.
Definitely. I agree with that.
Barb, this is Lauren Daniels. Alan, when you started, you mentioned how you guys, I know you guys have a different format, but you guys would meet about 10 of you for lunch. Our meetings are usually 20, even sometimes up to 30 people at a time. And when we mentioned this briefly at one meeting, and of course, there were some who were like, "Let's not stop the face-to-face." And then you mentioned that it increased about 20. Back to where you said you increased about 20%. It's only about that's maybe 2, 3, 4 more people are attending a meeting now than were in the past for you. Is that? But it seems like.
It's more.
Yeah,
no,
it's more than that.
More.
It's more than that, isn't it?
Yeah. We generally run in the low 20s.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking that I realized that there's probably more people attending than we anticipated. We're mixed. I think there's a lot of pros for it. There's some cons. But I think in chapters have to kind of and they may not use it always maybe for meetings, maybe just for their boards and their committees. There's you don't have to go full bore on it if you don't think it's beneficial.
And it's good sometimes just you can, for instance, if a chapter wants to purchase a small plan, even if it's a larger chapter and you're getting together in person, you can still use that small plan to bring speakers in from all over the country on WebEx.
Well, that's a good idea.
As well.
That right there would be worth the $228.
Right.
Okay. All right, Alan.
All right, Lauren. See you in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Again, to unmute your line, it's *7. I'm sure there will be more questions that come up as you take this back to your chapters and have time to process everything Alan just talked about. So please feel free to contact either myself or I know Alan is always available to talk as well. So please feel free to contact either one of us with questions on this, and we will be happy to share what we know. And with me being that would be passing your question on to Alan. So if there are no more questions, then I'm going to go ahead and end our webinar for today.